Glenn Schumann, Kirby Smart, and the Georgia Bulldogs continue to roll on the recruiting trail. Today, they picked up a commitment from one of the top linebackers in the country in four-star Troy Bowles. If you've been on Dog Post, if you've been watching these videos, again, you saw this coming. This is a kid who has been high on Georgia from the very beginning. He's been a top target for Glenn Schumann. And as you know by now, Glenn Schumann, when he gets a guy, or when he targets a guy, he gets him. The dude does not miss. He recruits, he develops as well as any assistant coach in the country, and he just added his third inside linebacker in this class, and he's got three of the best in the country. Not three of the best in Georgia, not three of the best in the South, three of the best in the country, all coming together to play for Coach Schumann. That's just what he does. Again, he is on a roll, and Troy Bowles, of course, has some of the best instincts and is one of the surest tacklers you'll find across the country. His father, Todd Bowles, is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you know the kid lives and breathes football. He has one goal in mind, and that is to play at the NFL level. And there's no better coach to play for than Glenn Schumann. He turned Roquan Smith into an absolute superstar at Georgia. We saw what he did with Nakobe Dean, Channing Tindall, Quay Walker, Monty Rice, Tate Crowder. I mean, the list goes on and on. When you play for this guy who is just 32 years old, you're going to be successful, you're going to get better, and you're going to get drafted. More often than not, pretty high in the draft, and you're going to do really well in the NFL. So there's a reason some of the top linebackers in the country want to play for him. And Troy Bowles, a kid who could play anywhere he wanted to, decided to play for Glenn Schumann. This is a guy who had 103 tackles last year. Just, again, he's a tackling machine. Not the biggest guy, probably about 6'1", 6'2", about 205, but he runs well. He strikes. He's a leader on a defense that went undefeated last year, only lost one game as a sophomore. The dude just does not know how to lose. He wants to play for a winning program in college the same way he did in high school down in Tampa. And, of course, the Georgia Bulldogs, maybe the hottest team in the country right now, the hottest program in college football, coming off the national championship, right? It's still either them or Alabama as the number one program in the country. He chose Georgia over Oklahoma and Ohio State. And again, if you've been on Dog Post, you saw this coming. He took his official visit to Oklahoma June 3rd, had a nice little time. The following weekend, he was in Athens for his official visit to Georgia. And ever since then, we were told that Georgia was going to be tough to beat. He had an excellent time. The staff drew up exactly what they have planned for him to do at Georgia. They said, hey, look what we did with Channing Tindall. Look what we did with Nakobe Dean. Monty Rice, on some outlets, was just a 3-star. Tate Crowder was a former running back that he put at middle linebacker and taught him how to play, and now he's one of the leading tacklers for the New York Giants. And, of course, Roquan Smith was good as a freshman and sophomore, but in that 2017 season, second year under Glenn Schumann, he was an All-American and a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. So that's what he can do for some of these guys. Now, they've got C.J. Allen on board, 6'2", 220-pound linebacker from Lamar County in Middle Georgia, runs a 4.5, so you know you've got plenty of size and speed there. Raylan Wilson, one of the best cover linebackers in the country, another kid from Florida down in Tallahassee. One of the guys with the highest ceilings of any linebacker in the country. He's only getting better and better. He's up to 222 right now. He's another guy who can run and hit. And then, of course, Troy Bowles just reads the play and reacts as well as anyone. He knows what's coming pre-snap. He gets to the ball. He's got great pursuit, and he knows how to hit. He's going to leave a bruise when he hits someone. He knows how to force turnovers. He had 3 interceptions as a sophomore, so you know it can help in the passing game. He can read the quarterback. He reads the running back. The angles he uses are second to none that I've seen in this class. So he sniffs out the play before it happens. He gets into the backfield. And again, he knows how to tackle. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He's fundamentally sound. He's technically sound. He wraps up, right? His dad is a defensive-minded coach. So you know he was brought up playing the right way, knowing what to do. And he's going to bring a lot of that to Georgia. So inside linebacker, they're kind of loaded at Georgia right now, so it's tough for me to imagine any of these guys coming in and starting day one as a freshman or anything like that, but I do think that they should see some early playing time. There's no doubt about that. And when you're talking about a kid who is ranked the number 2 linebacker in the country, right? Number 2, number 11 player in Florida, a stacked class in Florida, and he's a number 11 player. That says a lot about who he is and his potential at the next level. So playing for Glenn Schumann, he's only going to get better, and that is a scary, scary thought for offenses around the SEC. So, I mean, they still have guys like Jamon Dumas-Johnson on board, Small Munden. I mean, the class that he's bringing again the last few years in 2022. Inside linebacker Jalen Walker, right? It's hard to have a lot of these guys off the top of your head when I'm trying to deal with so many classes at the time. But CJ Washington dealing with an injury right now. He's another guy that the staff loved. But that 21 class was insane. Xavier Torrey might be outside. But Tresman Marshall is a guy who I could see making a lot of plays this year. But they got dudes. They got a lot of guys at inside linebacker. EJ Lightsey is another guy from Fitzgerald who just made tackle after tackle after tackle last year. So these are guys with size. A lot of these guys are 6'2" or more. They're all 200 plus pounds. And even if they're not that big, we've seen what he can do with guys like Nakobe Dean and Monty Rice. They weren't big either, but they knew what they were doing, and they could blitz. They can get after the quarterback. They can get off tackles. And for a lot of stiff offensive linemen, it's tough for them to get hands on those guys. I mean, we saw time and time again, Nakobe Dean just snuck into the backfield and exploded through blocks and right by guys. So they're tough to handle. So guys like Troy Bowles, who is, has a lean frame with plenty of muscle, he's going to gain a little bit more weight too. But the guy can run. He might not have track star speed, but he sneaks out the play, right? And again, he can get after the quarterback. He can get after whoever's carrying the ball. He can go sideline to sideline. He can go up the middle and make plays between the tackles. He can stuff the run, so he's not afraid to get in there and get his hands dirty. He's physical. He's tough, so he can run down a linebacker. He can run down the running back trying to get to the edge down the sideline, or when it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, he can get up there and play with those guys in the trenches too. So, again, he's one of the best linebacker prospects in the region. He comes from a football family. Again, the instincts, though, stand out the most. He might not be, have the muscle in the frame that maybe C.J. Allen does. He might not be able to cover as well as a guy like Raylan Wilson does, both of them tremendously. But his knowledge of the game, his leadership that he's going to bring to the table, his refusal to lose. I mean, the guy's won everywhere he's played, Pop Warner League, all through high school right now. He plays for winning programs. A lot of it is because he's really good and he's a leader and he can tell guys where to play and he lines them up correctly. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we saw him become a multi-year starter at Georgia down the road. And of course, middle linebacker is one of the most important parts of Georgia's defense and their scheme, especially, when you're talking about Glenn Schumann, who just pumps these guys out. So, Quay Walker developed a lot at Georgia. Nakobe Dean was a 5-star and he played like one. When you get to Georgia and you play for Glenn Schumann, you don't go backwards. No one's a bust at linebacker at Georgia. You only get better. And I think Troy Bowles, who again he's got a really high ceiling, just like Raylan Wilson does, and C.J. Allen. All these guys are going to get better as they continue to work under Glenn Schumann, learn this scheme, hit the weight room, continuously. They're going to still, lose body fat and gain muscle over the next 3 years while they're at Georgia, and they're going to win. Georgia's not going anywhere. That defense is still going to be very, very good. I've said on multiple videos now, there are a lot of young defenders, especially on the defensive line and at linebacker, who are just waiting their turn. And when they get an opportunity to see the field a lot and maybe push for a starting role, I think Georgia fans are going to be very happy with what they see on the field. So there are a lot of guys itching to get out there who have been in the system for a couple of years now. They're, a lot of them were high 4-stars, 5-star kids who have now been in the system for a couple of years. I expect them to do big, big things this upcoming season and through the rest of their career. So, again, Jamon Dumas-Johnson, Xavier Torrey, Small Munden, Tresman Marshall. I like what these guys bring to the table, and we're going to see how good they are this fall, because I think these guys are going to get a lot of playing time, and they've been coached by Glenn Schumann for a hot minute now. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. the Troy Bulls, again, a kid who has been training Georgia's way for a minute now. And if y'all have been watching and reading, y'all saw this coming. This is not a surprise. He chose Georgia today over Ohio State. Oklahoma giving Georgia the best inside linebacker haul in the country, without a doubt. I mean, that's clear. That is a fact with these three. So big day for Georgia as they land Troy Bowles, son of Todd Bowles, head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one of the most instinctive and hardest hitting linebackers that you'll find in the class. Guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now, and I'll see you over on Dog Post.